All right, guys, we just dropped into this abandoned mine. We're right inside the portal here, and there is an underground dry. So this is where the miners would come and get ready for their shift, put on their diggers, hang up their other clothes. They'd take a shower when they left. There's just some sinks. Also, probably where they'd come and have lunch. This would have been heated. As you can see, it's shotcreted, and there's places for you to hang stuff and dry things. So, yeah, pretty cool. Pretty classic dry. Toilet in here. So you could, it's even all plumbed up, which is pretty impressive. So, something big just fell. It's unsettling. I assume this would be like the shifter's office, or, oh yeah, here's even a bathtub. It's pretty cool. This is access along the side of the dry so that you can get to one side or the other. So we're gonna go back to the side that we came in from. Here's the entrance to it. As you can see, we're just in there. Oh, a sign. Oh, not a sign, it's actually a marking on a fuse box or something. Huh.
Just a heads up, there's just a small collapse in here.
Yeah, I just heard that shit. Where did it come from?
Right inside this vault here.
Oh. Here's a little bit of a shop. More so like a storage area. I think we're gonna go through this area rather quickly. Okay, so now we're in the main haulage. Yeah, I keep hearing stuff fall from that area. It's concerning. We have a whole bunch of, looks like to be long hole bits. There's a big flat car and a big compressor. This is one of those monster 2-stage compressors. I believe this thing could do around 2,000 CFM to power all of the machines in the mine. See the big engine in there. All this was 440 voltage stuff. There's a phase converter somewhere in here. So this is, yeah, it's a big compressor. Here's a force feed boiler, I believe, for all the engine components, or the compressor components. Yep. So the way one of these would work is you gotta look for where the air would come in, which I believe might be over here, might be this. So I believe this is where the air would come in, and it'd be sucked in this right here. Usually they'd have an air filter on it, but they took that off. And it'd come into the low pressure cylinder, and this would get it up to pressure. And then once it was up to pressure, it would come up here into this tank on top, and that high pressure air would come into this smaller high pressure cylinder, and that would bring it up to even higher pressure. And that's how they would get so much CFMs out of this thing. Let's see where I believe they used to have the hookup there. It would, someone's taken it off, but it would leave and it'd come up and hook right into the main airline. So we'll go around the side of this thing. Big electric engine. Here's a phase converter. Not sure what this is. Yeah, this is looking back to the other side here. Super impressive. It's rare you find compressors underground. Super rare. And this was a big compressor. Even by all standards, this was a big compressor, and it's underground, so it makes it that much cooler. Gonna try and get over by stepping through here. Here's a locomotive. This one's sort of been pieced out, I believe. See that engine down, the motor down there, and the gearing for it. There's one of the big 10-ton side dumper cars. Actually, I don't know if that's a 10. That's a 5-ton. Yeah. Not quite big enough. Little shop in here, little storage room. All sorts of parts. Another phase converter, but this is a big one. Monster phase converter. Here we have another room. That's just a small little one. It's cool. More of these carts. These sure are some big carts. There's just so much stuff in here. It's like, where do you even begin? Here's the main airline running overhead. Gonna try and get over here. Looks to be an air door right here. Nice breeze. Nice amount of airflow coming through. Try and get over this. See the massive, I believe that's an 8-inch airline. So let's see, what do we have over here? A whole bunch of storage and stuff. That's looking back towards where we just came from. Right over here we have what looks to be, it's hard to really see it with all this stuff in the way, but there's a bulkhead back there, and the air would go into that, and that way they had a little bit of a receiver. But for a mine this big, when you're running it through 8-inch airline over 1,000 feet, you don't really need air receivers. Here's a locomotive that's in good shape. This is one of the big 9-ton electric locomotives. Trolleys, they're the trolley style. These are huge. See, they would hook up via pantograph to the electricity, and that's why they didn't need batteries. So yeah, these were definitely the main haulage locomotives, and you can see everything's in pretty good shape. You can even see the oiler for the axle down there still there, which is cool. But yeah, you'll see how big this thing is in a second when we walk by. Yeah, look at the side of that thing. That can carry some serious load. Off to the left here, we have like another little shop. See these chains? These are for muckers. So if they had a lot of these lying around, that means they were using muckers in here. And they look like the bigger chains for a 21B instead of a 12B. Obviously the gauge of the rail here it's not even 24 gauge, it's even bigger. It's its own special size. This is custom built for the mine, as you can see. Probably specifically for those cars so that they wouldn't tip. Looks like some air clamp rubber storage for the airline. That's how they would do the airline. And then over here, the haulage continues. You can see how hazy it is in here today. A lot of humid air. This big stole. And you can see they had a little tugger here at the end of the main Hologen so that they could pull stuff in that wasn't really cooperating. Right here we have a big winds, but it looks just to be in like bad shape. So as you can see, a lot of crap in there. Another locomotive and a hoist. So this hoist was for the winds, as you can see, is right up here. There's a pulley for it. This is a pretty nice hoist. Another big old locomotive. Okay, as you can see, we're standing on the ore pass right now. That's what's going on. So I'm gonna want to carefully get over here. So yeah, there's another big low key. There's the pantograph on it. And then this is the ore pass. So they would bring the carts, those big side dumping cars through here, and they'd use this big air ram, and that's what would tip the carts over. They also might have had the style with the wheel roller, and it would roll up on this thing right here, as you can see, and dump. We'll get over this. Looks like a little shop in here. I don't really want to check it out as it's on a false floor. And then over here we have yet another locomotive. This one's of a bit different style. It's longer and lower. Off to the left, this is what they'd use to generate the acetylene gas for welding in here. That's why it's all fireproof. So we'll come out of here, we'll go to this strip. Small underhand stope over here, and it's real bad. So we'll go back to the main intersection and we'll head off in the other direction. Okay, so we're back and we're gonna go to the right. A lot of moisture in the air. Big flat car. So right in here we have a big winds, and there's what looks to be a shop on the other side, and then yeah, this winds just goes way down. We'll go check it out on the other side. Right here we have a shop. It's kind of a small one. And then over here, look at the copper staining on that rock right there. Big flat car. Off that direction it's collapsed, but there is a bit grinding shop right in here. Let's see. Bit grinding department. And you can see they did that, and there's core drill samples in here and a lot of bits. Here's the grinder. I'm not very familiar with this style. It looks like it was for older ones before they had interchangeable bits, like more so for classic drill steel. I think the new one has been taken out. So yeah. And then it's collapsed real bad in here. It's basically a mess. It's the only way to describe it. Some spools, probably for this is for the cable probably for a hoist. And then right over here is this utility manway, and we're gonna rappel down that because there's a crusher down there. So they had that main ore pass, and They would drop the ore down that, it would get crushed, and then it would get sent out. That's how this place worked. Smart setup. All done with gravity, so I'm gonna go over here, take a better look. So yeah, there's the big winds. See the big flat car on the edge. I don't know how that's still standing. Pretty amazing. Here's a mucker bucket. It's for a big one too, like a 21. An Einco 21. It's one of the bigger track muckers. Here's this storage room. So they have low-key axles with gears in them and all sorts of crap. They have these big chains, which probably would have been for the crusher. There's a bucket for a 12B. See what's in here. A whole bunch more stuff. They probably would hang a bunch of hose here, as you can see, for all their air tools. Here's a look on the other side of the winds and everything. It's just crazy. Random storage for a whole bunch of stuff. No shortage of wheels in here. This was for measuring and cutting your fuse and whatnot. That was probably cap storage in there. Look at where the fire extinguisher used to be. So yeah, that's about it for this area. We're gonna go see what that crusher is like. Hopefully we can still get to it.